The results are in the Democratic primary in South Carolina. And not only did President Biden win big, it was one of the most dominant wins in the primary in presidential history. President Biden commanding somewhere between 95 to almost 100% of the vote in South Carolina. You go county by county, and President Biden was putting up those numbers in essentially each county. 95% or more of the people in these counties voting in the Democratic primary, voting for President Biden. I mean, you had Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson who were challenging President Biden. Dean Phillips actually getting a lot of money through some of his PACs and some of these like hedge fund bros who were giving him money, but getting destroyed by President Biden. And as you look at the data as well, some incredible stats. I mean, we're talking about President Biden getting 13% more of the black vote now in 2024 than he did in 2020. So for all of these media narratives, which we've been telling you here on the MeidasTouch Network, are false, are belied by the data, folks, we now have the data, and this is really a tale of two incumbents. Jeffrey Gold put it perfectly. Joe Biden will win South Carolina with more than 95% of the vote, which is the kind of number that identifies with a winning incumbent. Meanwhile, Donald Trump won Iowa with 52%, New Hampshire with 54%. Numbers like an incumbent with a significant challenge, whether that was Jimmy Carter or George H.W. Bush, who went on to lose in the general. Let me show you right here on MSNBC as Steve Kornacki was crunching the data.
And look at this. This was Biden's worst county in the 2020 primary. He only got 33% of the vote here. Tonight, it's just as unanimous for Biden so far in Pickens County, a gain of 62 points for him. And again, this is coming presumably, largely, overwhelmingly from white voters who were not on his side in the 2020 primary. They are tonight in the same numbers you're seeing in every other county. I mean, take a look at Myrtle Beach, 96% here. Again, this has the third lowest share of black residents in the entire state. Look what it was in 2020. Biden was 44%. Tonight, near unanimous. Take a look. This is the second lowest share of black voters in the state. Biden didn't even touch 40% here 4 years ago. He's at 95% tonight. So at Rock Hill, this is York County. Again, this has a little bit higher, but still lower than the state average when it comes to the share of black voters. Again, you're just seeing the same number. There's 95, 6, 7 in every county right now. So we're going to wait on some more to get some of these majority black counties where you have a big share of the vote to come in. We can start talking about turnout and stuff. But I guess, besides the fact that Biden is just nearly unanimously winning this primary right now, the biggest growth we're seeing right now in his support, it's the same number every county in the state. That means white voters who were reluctant in 2020 and with Sanders or with Buttigieg or some of these other candidates, they're just as in line now, I think, as black voters are, at least in this primary.
Now, let me show you this other clip from MSNBC where they talk about some of the incredible statistics, and they and all the other media seem to be surprised, but again, they're pushing these narratives that are not consistent with where the data has always been. And take a look here as this panel discusses some of the kind of just staggeringly dominant numbers by President Biden here, especially as it came to the black vote. Here, play this clip.
See Chairman Jamie Harrison, before we went on the air, saying, I'm going to be on between 7 and 9, any tidbits you can give me. And just before this panel started, he sent me this text message, and he said I could attribute it to him. Early vote numbers, 13% more black than 2020. 13% more black than 2020. 2020 was a presidential election year. That was when Joe Biden's campaign hobbled into South Carolina, having won no state. But anybody who was paying attention to South Carolina in 2020 knew that that was going to be the first opportunity for black voters to tell the rest of the country who they thought should be the Democratic nominee, and they made it clear that that person should be Joe Biden. And according to the DNC chairman, Jamie Harrison, this year, in a year when it's not really a contested primary, even though Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips are in the race, and also, as Kornacki pointed out several times, that we don't have an analogous year to point to because the president is an incumbent, and just as in '96 and in losing track of time, I think 2012, the president was the Democratic president was the incumbent, so the primary was canceled. But the fact that in 2024, when the incumbent president has two challengers in a state where the black population is a huge chunk of the electorate in the Democratic Party, that he is getting 13% more of the black vote than tonight than he did in 2020, a presidential election year, sends a very clear message, I think, should send a very clear message to us in the press, it should send a clear message to folks in the Democratic Party, and it should send a message to the nation that President Biden is on firm ground when it comes to the foundation of the Democratic Party, and therefore the foundation of his support going into November.
Here's the moment where Fox called the race in favor of President Biden, the Democratic primary. You know, one of the things that Fox said, well, no big surprise here. Well, take a look at the dominant numbers, though, by President Biden here. Here, play this clip.
Back now with a Fox News alert. A winner is in for the Democratic presidential primary. John Scott is in the newsroom to break down the results. John?
Hi, Molly. Yeah, we just got the numbers in, and perhaps to nobody's surprise, the sitting president, Joseph Biden, former senator from the state of Delaware and former vice president, wins the South Carolina primary. It is the primary that 4 years ago, well, his campaign was sort of moribund until he won South Carolina with the endorsement of Congressman Clyburn. This time he won again with 97% of the vote. Marianne Williamson comes in second with 1.7%, and Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips with 1.3%. So a runaway victory for the sitting president tonight.
President Biden released a statement after this resounding victory. Let me read it for you right now. Here's what President Biden said. As I said 4 years ago, this campaign is for everyone who has been knocked down, counted out, and left behind. This is still true today, with more than 14 million new jobs and a record 24 straight months, 2 years of the unemployment rate under 4%, including a record low unemployment rate for Black Americans. We are leaving no one behind. In 2020, it was voters of South Carolina who proved the pundits wrong, breathed new life into our campaign, and set us on the path to winning the presidency. Now, in 2024, the people of South Carolina have spoken again, and I have no doubt that you have set us on the path to winning the presidency again and making Donald Trump a loser again. When I was elected president, I said the days of the backbone of the Democratic Party being at the back of the line were over. That was a promise made and a promise kept. Now you are the first in the nation. The stakes in this election could not be higher. There are extreme and dangerous voices at work in the country, led by Donald Trump, who are determined to divide our nation and take us backward. We cannot let this happen. We've come a long way these past 4 years, with America now having the strongest economy in the world and among the lowest inflation of any major economy. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's finish what we started together. And earlier, here was a speech given by President Biden as well, talking about how he feels good about this campaign. And one of the funny things he says here, it's one of the weirdest campaigns, watching Donald Trump's behavior. Here, play this clip of President Biden speaking in Delaware. Play it.
I'm feeling good about where we are. I really am. You know, the folks are starting to focus in. And the guy we're running against, he's not for anything. He's against everything. No, I mean, it's the weirdest campaign I've ever been engaged in. It's even worse than in terms of his behavior than the last time in 2020.
Yeah, speaking about one of the weirdest campaigns, moments ago, here's what Donald Trump posted. Folks, this is real. Okay, this actually was posted by Donald Trump. This isn't AI. I'm not making this up. This is what Donald Trump actually posted. Here it is. For so many years, people have been saying that Elvis and I look alike. Now, this pic has been going all over the place. What do you think? As I said, Donald Trump is a loser. Donald Trump is a dangerous loser. And as President Biden said also, very weird. This stuff is weird. This MAGA stuff is really, really very strange and really, really weird. Want to share this with you as well. You know, there was that event taking place today, the Take Our Border Back rally, this kind of trucker event where all of these people inspired by Fox and the right-wing talking points that there's this invasion taking place, they all went and did this Take Our Border Back rally, but when they showed up, they didn't really see an invasion. They were surprised that there was, where's the invasion? Let me play you this clip right here. This is from MSNBC. Let's play it.
I've been talking to these folks who have come from all over Texas, even other parts of the country, to be here. And some of them, even though we are about a half hour from Eagle Pass, have driven down to Eagle Pass to try to actually see what's happening at the border. And I've spoken to a number of people who said that they're a little surprised by what they're seeing here. I want to play a conversation with a woman, Misty. Take a listen.
It's pretty surreal. We actually made it into Eagle Pass and we went and saw Shelby Park. I was able to see some people actually trying to cross and stopped at the wire there. So it's very eye-opening.
And tell me more about eye-opening. Is it what you expected? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's not what I expected, but then again, I don't know what I expected. I can tell you it's not as bad as what I thought. So that's kind of eye-opening in itself too. Yeah.
One of the reasons also, of course, why President Biden is seeing this massive victory, of course, is because he has been a competent and I would say exceptional steward of our economy. Let me share this with you. This is from Fox that I'm about to show you. Even Fox has to admit that the economic metrics under President Biden are all pointing in positive directions and many historically positive directions. Play this clip.
Economy is receding in importance among the voters because it's good. Stock market at a record high. University of Michigan gauge of consumer sentiment up in 2 months, the most in more than 3 decades. And home ownership. If you own your home at a low fixed rate mortgage, 3%, and the value of your home is going up, that is wealth accumulation. And you have a fixed rate mortgage, you have a fixed payment every month, and your wages are increasing. In the monthly jobs report, 4.5% annual wage increases, fixed monthly payment on your home, your wages are going up at 4.5%. That is extra spending money. That's how you benefit from inflation. And people are out spending. And the messaging from the RNC has been way off base.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, folks, a major win for President Biden in South Carolina, a dominant win. And President Biden is running an incredibly disciplined campaign, dominant wins. That is how it should be framed because that's just the facts. I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of every time the data is what the data is, where the data has been, the media is like, oh, this is such a surprise. We are shocked. This is a big surprise. This is what the data is. Y'all are pushing weird narratives. Let's focus on the data and let's focus on the fact that President Biden's campaign right now is very strong, is very disciplined, and he's out there calling out loser Donald Trump each and every day. A big win in South Carolina for President Biden, nearly winning 100%. in the primary. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe and subscribe to our newsletter, MeidasTouch.com/newsletter. Have a great day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.